Okay, hello and welcome to another exciting episode of TEVAdrive. And this time around we're doing a comparison. On my left is 2022 BMW i4 40 eDrive rear-wheel drive. And on my right is top of the line Ford Mustang Mach-E GT. So you may wonder why we're comparing BMW and Ford. Well, there's quite a few reasons. Even though this is the base model and this is top of the line model, but buyers will certainly be cross-shopping these two brands and these two cars in various versions. The BMW i4 starts in the mid-50s, and in its top-of-the-line version, which exists right now and it's being sold as well, which is the i450M all-wheel drive, it reaches into the low 70s. Where with the Ford Mustang Mach-E, the base price with a smaller battery, it starts just over 50, and in this version it goes well over 80,000. So in actual fact, this BMW, when you compare the same versions, then BMW is less expensive when you compare the same battery versions, less expensive, it has longer range, and it's actually faster, believe it or not. So we will kind of give you an exact review of each car separately, and then we'll compare them together. But we wanted to explain why we are comparing these two cars from the two brands which usually are not really cross-shopped together. But there is a definite reasons we're doing that, and many of you will be comparing these two cars. Okay, so stay with us as we walk you through the features of these cars, the specifics, and also the performance, the consumption, and the interior features of those cars. Okay, we are doing our first fast charging experience here in Barrie Electrify Canada location at the Canadian Tire on Mapleview, our usual spot, because we're getting our free charge using the e-tron plan. But today we plugged in a second car right here at this CHAdeMO/CCS charger, which is charger number 1, and it said that this session is free because they were having so many issues with this CHAdeMO number 1 unit that they're offering a free charge at this number 1 unit. We tried to use moments ago use our credit card on the unit 2, but the card reader is actually broken. The BMW, we plugged it in at the 350 kilowatt charger, and we used our Electrify Canada app to start the charge on that one. The reason we plugged in at the 350 kilowatt unit is because this BMW is capable of a maximum of 210 kilowatts of speed, where the Ford Mach-E GT is capable of 150. Okay, so let's show you how the charge is going. The BMW, we plugged in the BMW first. It started slow at around 30 kilowatts, and then it sped up to over 40, so we're getting about 40. Remember, keep in mind that we started the trip at 100%. We drove about 100 kilometers, and both cars went down to about 70%, just over 70% battery. So it is still a high state of charge. We did not expect that we would get a high rate because we're just topping up at the top end of the batteries, but still, the BMW started at around 30. It sped up to over 40, about 45 kilowatts, even very high up. Right now, let's show you, we are at 94%, and we're still charging at 34 kilowatts, 95, and we're still pulling 34 kilowatts on the BMW i4. Let's show you what happened with the Ford Mach-E GT. So the reverse happened. The Ford started at around 40 kilowatts. As soon as we plugged in, it started at around 40 kilowatts at just over 70%. Right now we're at 80%, but look at the speed. So we're not sure if this is the unit. We're only pulling 14 kilowatts. It's basically a level 2 speed, okay? Mind you, again, this machine was having issues, and we're getting a free charge. So I'm not sure if it's the car or if it's the actual unit. So we won't complain about it because we're getting a free charge, but it's gonna take a while. So let us show you what it's showing on the car display here. in order to check when the car will be ready at 100%. It shows here fast charging 100% at 7:38 p.m. Oh boy. And it's right now, it's only 5:30, so I'm not sure why. Yeah, it's gonna be, I don't think we're gonna be charging this car to 100% today, because we would have to be here another 2 hours. So again, we're not sure if it's the car or if it's the machine, the Unit 1 machine. What we'll try to do is we'll close off, when the BMW is fully charged, we'll close out this session and then try and plug it in at the other unit to see if we can get the rate up any faster. So we'll find out whether it's the unit or if it's the car limiting the speed of charging. Let's show you the BMW screen. It shows us that the 100% charged at 5:50 p.m. So even though it's already at what's the percentage? 96%. It estimates it's gonna take us from 96% to 100%. We're at 5:35. We'll get back to you as soon as the BMW is fully charged, and once we have plugged in the Mach-E GT at this faster charger to see if the rate will actually go up. Okay, so we're here. It's now the Electrify Canada chargers in Barrie are full. There's a recharge on one side, there's another recharge on the other side. The Mustang is still charging. BMW is parked at the charger that's actually currently not working. We wanted to replug it to try and see if we could get a higher speed at the unit number 3 versus unit number 1, but it's the same speed. The Mustang is only charging at around 15 kilowatts right now at 85% state of charge. So it's the car, it's not the fast charger. So we're not gonna even bother charging to 100%. And we're just gonna plug it in at home at the lake house. So here we have the base car. Here we have the top of the line car. However, these two are definitely comparable, because in their base versions they are very similarly priced, similar power, similar range, and similar horsepower basically, and pricing. So it's, in a way, it's nice that we're able to compare the base version with the top of the line version. So on my right, the BMW starts at around 55,000. The battery is just over 80 kilowatt hours gross, and then just under 80 kilowatt hours net. The range, as we experienced yesterday, both before and after highway driving, comes out to about 450 kilometers, in spite of the fact that we're in late March with winter-like weather, barely above zero. The Mustang Mach-E has a larger battery, but it's a bigger, heavier car. So, with well over 90 kilowatt hour gross and high 80s net battery power, the range on this car yesterday was kind of in the mid 300s for this climate. So again, just to go back for a second here, we started both cars at 100% before we hit the highway on the way to Midland. This car was actually showing 390 kilometer at full. This one was showing 352 at full. So this is kind of from our experience during this test. So the actual range difference is not that much, but in actual fact, in ideal conditions, this car's range will be substantially longer than the Ford Mustang. This car also comes in two versions. So the top of the line version, which is the 50M, is all-wheel drive with 480 horsepower, 3.7 seconds to 100, which basically matches the performance of this Ford Mustang Mach-E. So we would never believe that we will one day be comparing BMW to Ford, but in actual fact, many people may be cross-shopping these two brands just because of their pricing, power, and options. Of course, the Ford Mustang Mach-E is also available in different versions, in a small battery, large battery, and also rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. So the base price for the small battery rear-wheel drive car is slightly under. So this is just over 50, 51. This starts at 55. So in actual fact, once you throw the long-range battery in the Mustang, this Mustang is actually more expensive than the BMW. Same can be said for the top of the line versions, where this one here starts at around 86,000, and this one in top of the line 50M trim starts at only 72, so it's actually $12,000 cheaper. Yes, and I keep repeating it, this is a smaller, sporty hatchback four-door coupe, where this is a more of a, not really an SUV, but let's say a crossover or a tall hatch. So it is a bigger car. So we'll walk you around those cars. We'll show you the interior, front seat space, back seat space, the trunk spaces, and we'll look under the hoods of both so that you can compare these two actually. Okay, so let's start with the bigger one. Let's start with the Ford Mach-E. Of course, here you cannot see it right now, but you have the beautiful DRLs, LEDs here, and even the logo, the Mustang logo lights up. In the back you will see, so there's a front camera right there. This, you know, the grille here is different on a GT than on a regular Mustang, you will know. And you have a beautiful spoiler that differentiates this from a regular Mustang Mach-E. This is your charge port right here. The car is equipped with 20-inch rims, beautiful Brembo brakes. You can tell right away that this is a GT. So the charge port is right here. This is your regular level 2, and the CCS has a little cover. You also have this little LED indicator, which is divided into 5 sections, which shows you it's flashing as you're charging. Then when you remove the cable, it'll tell you where you're at. So right now we charge the car to 90%. So all of them, so 4 out of 5 of these sections were lit up, telling us that we were over 80%, but we were not full. Okay, so that's it for the charge port. So it's located in the front driver's side versus the BMW, which is located on the passenger rear side. We'll show it to you in a moment. Let's show you the controversial way to open the doors in this car, which is different than any other car that we have test driven. By the way, if you want to look at the just base Mustang E California Route 1 version rear-wheel drive, we drove it in the summer, compared it with the Volkswagen ID4 rear-wheel drive. So let's show you how it opens. So basically you press the button and you're supposed to use this to pull the door. There you go. So the door is now open, and in terms of locking the door, there's a button right here. Of course, you have the usual Ford coding. You can use the codes to lock it. You can also use your phone. You can set up your phone as a key, which will open the door as you approach it. We have not done that. So to lock the car, there's a little lock logo here above the button. You press it, and it folds the mirrors. Again, you can set the mirrors to fold or not. So as you open the car, there you go. It's open. So this is kind of, at least you have something to grab the door by. And of course you have the Mach-E 4 extended, meaning that it's a 4-wheel drive extended range battery. And the GT logo is not here, but you will see it on the back. So let's show you the back door. Even more controversial because there's really nothing to grab it by. So it's completely flush, very aerodynamic, sorry. However, the only way to open it is press the button and the door pops out. Now, the problem we have with that, as many other reviewers, is what happens in the Canadian winter when the door is full of snow and ice. Well, if the door is frozen, you won't be able to open it. So there's nothing really to pull it by. So it's, you know, it may be a great solution for warm climate. I'm not sure if it's the best solution for our cold Canadian climate. So there you go again. And it opens. So let us then we'll show you the trunk space. Now, when we compared the base Mach-E rear-wheel drive California 1 edition with the Volkswagen ID4, we noted that the Volkswagen has a power liftgate standard where the Mach-E wasn't. Here in the GT top trim, you know, this car is basically $90,000. Yes, there is it is a power liftgate, and it also has the foot swipe function. Okay, you have the beautiful LEDs, of course, the typical Mustang LEDs, which make it instantly recognizable as a Ford Mustang. Big trunk, 40-60 split of the rear bench, and we have the nice tray here, and there's some more storage space for cables under the trunk floor as well. Okay, it actually stays open, so in order to close it, you have to pull it, and then it goes down. Well, now we put there you go. You have to play around with it a little bit. Okay, good enough. You have some hooks here, 12-volt outlet, and nice flat floor. All right, so again, let's try the foot swipe. Sometimes you may have to try it a few times. It makes a sound, warning sound, and it locks the gate. So again, beautiful Mustang LEDs. These are multicolor LEDs, which are all red, and the lower part turns orange when you turn the indicators on, or hazard lights, obviously. But you have this entire thing is all LED. Let's sit inside and show you the front space and the rear space. And as you can see, very nice interior finish. You have the suede here and nice soft plastic here. Leather wrapped steering wheel, which is heated. The nice thing about the Mustang Mach-E, as we turn the car on, is that, so the seat moves. Here's your welcome screen and the welcome sound. There you go. We'll let it stop. Press OK for all the warnings. So we're showing 91% and 286 kilometer range after yesterday's highway driving. We only charged cars to 90. Actually, it seems to be over 90%, surprisingly. Even though we told it via the app to only charge to 90%, it's showing 91%. That's fine. But anyway, so this screen on the Ford Mach-E is all standard. Sorry, let's turn down the sound system. By the way, it's a beautiful Bang & Olufsen system. It's a very expensive audio upgrade. So you can show the logo there on the door. That's a B&O, Bang & Olufsen sound system. It's amazing. The BMW has a Harman Kardon system. It also sounds very well. So to go back to the main screen, to the main dashboard, you have very well positioned. Here you can adjust the height. There we go. It's manual, telescopic, and tilt. So basically this screen cannot be adjusted. This is the standard display, the speed here. And then when you turn on the Blue Cruise or the cruise control or the adaptive cruise control, which will go through all the functions as we're driving, this turns into the display for the Blue Cruise, and the speedometer moves over to the right. This is your gear positioning, your range remaining, and a percentage of the battery. It's good that it's all positioned in the same spot, so you don't have to look for it. It's a little bit different in the BMW, as you notice. And the BMW screen is more modifiable. This is pretty much fixed. So this big center vertical screen, kind of Tesla Model S-like, has a lot of different options. So here we go when you press on the car. And by the way, I'm wearing gloves. I'm going to take them off. But the screen works also wearing the thinner driving gloves. So we have the different drive modes here. Again, if you look back at the video from the summer when we reviewed the rear-wheel drive, it's the same three modes: the Whisper, the Engage, and the ambiance in the car changes. The colors of the LEDs change according to your driving mode. And then the Unbridled. So Ford went a little creative and named them something different, versus the Eco and Sport and Comfort, like in most of the other, electric cars. So they call them Whisper, Engage, and Unbridled. The Unbridled automatically comes with a propulsion sound, but you can turn it off or on. So there you go, by sliding your finger. So we've already recorded that artificial engine sound. It sounds like a V8. It's not the electronic sound like you could hear in some of the other electric cars. This one is made to sound like a big V8 engine. So we'll turn it off. You can also, the one pedal driving, you can turn it, toggle on or off. Okay, so when you turn it off, it's coasting, and you use your brake pedal. It will still regenerate when you press the brake pedal, but you cannot drive it in the one pedal mode. So I personally prefer, as you know, always driving in a one pedal drive. So there's only the two options: coasting or one pedal. The BMW has three different settings for in D mode. There's three different settings of how strong the regen is, and there's an even stronger B mode, which makes it a truly full one pedal driving. And adjusting it's also done through the screens. So that's about it. You have the camera, parking, access, driver assistance, and valet mode. You have the settings are all here. Okay, and then you have, if there's your charge settings. Again, yesterday, in order to change it from 100% to 90%, we had to change the we had to really look at. It's not very easy to get through the menus to change the maximum charge rate from 100% to 90% or 80%. We ended up finally doing it through the app, but we had to go through many different levels of menus to actually, excuse me, change the maximum charge rate from 100 to a 90%. So that should be made easier. Most electric cars, you can just do it by swiping this. Hey Ford, here's your suggestion. Make it easy. Okay, make it swipeable to change it right away from 100 to 90 to 80%, whatever the max that you need that day for driving. You shouldn't have to go through multiple levels of menus to do that. Okay, so there's one suggestion for the Ford engineers. Other than that, it's all here. It's all done through the screen. So you notice that there's very few buttons here. There's your shifter from the Ford parts bin. This was used already many years ago on the Ford Fusion Energy, which we reviewed many years ago. This is your parking button, four-way flashers, your handbrake. Here is your tray to charge your phone. Okay, and then here my phone as usual with the cover on. It does not charge properly in the Ford. However, in the BMW, the wireless charging tray is much more powerful, and even with the cover on, it's charging my phone no problem. So, but that's an exception to the rule. In most electric cars, the charging tray is not powerful enough to charge through a phone cover, especially the cover of this style. So here, the climate controls, everything is on the main screen pretty much. You have your stop-start button here, and everything else is controlled through the screen. So your climate here to change the temperature, you can swipe it up and down. So when you're trying to jump, there you go. If you want to change the temperature, you swipe it up. Now it's 22. So if you want 19 and a half, you can go plus minus. We usually keep it at 18. There you go. The three levels of auto, this is just fan speed, but they call it auto. It's how powerful it is. But then there is a separate fan speed. There you go, from 7 to off. When it's off, the entire climate is off. Okay. Same for the steering heat. It's just one level of steering heat, on or off. The seat heaters have 3 levels. There you go. Actually, it's slidable. There's no 1, 2, 3. You just slide it. I think there's basically 3 positions: 1, 2, and 3, or off. So we're keeping it on just the one position. Here's your volume button for entertainment. Okay. Here's your rear defroster. So rear and max front for defrosting. I'm not even sure what this one is. Okay, so this is how you direct the climate control. Window, directed to your face or on your feet. And E-heat, and AC on, off, maximum AC and all. So in terms of directing the flow of the air, this is the button you use. Here again is the passenger controls, off or on. We'll turn it on to 18 degrees. Today it's barely above 0, so we definitely need seat heat, steering heat, and climate control, and that's how we will be doing now the driving section. So here in this trip, okay, we just barely started. So it really doesn't give us much at all, but normally after every trip you can check your statistics here in terms of the consumption, the time passed, and kilometers driven. Trip 1, here's our total test. Right now it's at 307 kilometers. We've used 29 kilowatt hours of consumed an average of 29 kilowatt hours. However, this is still left over from the previous test, I'm sure, because our average in the city was in the mid-20s. Our highway test while driving on the 400 was around 26, and then as soon as we got off the highway on the side roads, it went down to about 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And this is again almost winter consumption because we're in barely above 0 in late March. Okay, so that's about it. Let us quickly show you also the rear seat space, because this is a crossover or small SUV, whatever you want to call it. So we want to show you how comfortable the rear space is. I'm 6'3", and I'm in a very comfortable driving position right now. In fact, I could probably just push it forward a little bit more. So let me try and jump in the back and show you what the rear space looks like. By the way, again, we're gonna show you this amazing panorama fixed glass roof. It doesn't have any coverage, just heavily tinted. So it shouldn't heat up too much in the summer, but it's a fixed glass panorama roof that stretches the whole length of the car. And we'll see how it affects the rear headroom space in the back. So let's close the door. And as you can see, it's not super spacious, but it's definitely more spacious than the BMW. So I'm still fairly comfortable. I'm not touching the seat in front of me, and there's decent headroom. So the reason why it's shaped like this, it's especially for the headroom. So you're not touching that the roof area. You're where the glass is. The middle person may have less room because of the shape of the glass, but I'm quite comfortable, and even my son, who is 6'5", can sit in the back seat comfortably. So as you can see from the back, the shape of the front seats, it's sporty. That's in the GT. You get those sporty seats which have a very good side holding and the bolstering, and these are definitely the sport seats. So you have in terms of the climate controls, you have your vents here for the back seats, and you can just close or open them. There's no settings especially for the rear. And you have your USB ports here at the bottom as well. You have the decent storage in both doors, and there's also an armrest here with 2 cup holders. All right. So again, very decent rear space. Let's show you how it compares with the BMW. So as much as this BMW, which is, by the way, a 4-door coupe hatchback, as you can see, no frames, just like Model 3. So this would be more a competition to the Model 3 than the Ford. So the Ford Mach-E is more of a competition for the Model Y, where this is competition for the Model 3. And I can tell you, after driving it, that Tesla has a serious competition. Not only is this car cheaper, because this starts at 55, where the Model 3 standard range starts at 61 now after many increases. It has similar range of ideal summer conditions, well over 400 kilometers, 450 kilometers, and in the winter close to 400. It is cheaper. It has similar range. It's more powerful. This is 340 horsepower, 5.7 seconds. So it's actually faster by half a second than the Tesla Model 3 standard range. And apparently with LFP batteries, they slowed it down even more. So the acceleration is even slower on the Tesla, where this is fantastic, 5.7 seconds. So it's faster, similar range, and it's cheaper. And the most important thing, it's a hatchback. So it's much more practical. Also, you have an opening sunroof versus the glass roof. Again, for many of you, you won't care about it. I personally do care. I love the fact that it's a large opening sunroof on top, and the fact that it's a hatchback. So, it has certain advantages of the Model Y and certain advantages of the Model 3. So it's like a better Model 3 per se, because it's a hatchback with a roof, and it's cheaper, it's faster, very similar range. The speed of charging, of course, everybody's going to bring up the Tesla supercharger network. I agree, it's fantastic. And very soon, hopefully, they will open it up to other EVs. So in terms of the charging speeds, the Ford Mach-E maxes out at 150 kilowatts. This car charges at the maximum of 210. So that gets it pretty close to the Tesla Model 3. 210 is a very nice speed. We'll try and explore the charging speeds or the charging curve as we charge it tomorrow. We'll try and run them down as close to zero as possible, as close as comfortably possible. We'll try and charge it up back in Toronto at one of the ultra-fast chargers there. So yesterday we experienced the charging speeds on both cars, and at the top end, above 70%, the Ford Mach-E was very slow, charging below 20, where this one was still going at around 40 kilowatts charging speed. So it's charged way faster at the top end than the Ford Mach-E. And I'm pretty sure that the charging curve would be similar to the Tesla Model 3. So let us start by showing you the exterior. So basically, as we mentioned, these are frameless doors, just like the Tesla Model 3. The sound of this door, it's unusual that the front door sounds different from the back doors. This sounds kind of hollow, kind of little on the cheap side, okay, where the back door it sounds much more solid BMW-like. Okay, so we'll take you around it in a moment. Let's show you the beautiful hatchback. So you have the nice LED lights in the back with the i4 logo. Here it says eDrive 40. On the all-wheel drive, it'll say xDrive 50M. Okay, and it's a very powerful car that will compete very nicely with the performance Tesla Model 3 or even Model Y, although size-wise it's closer to the 3, and the Ford Mach-E is closer to the Y. So these are the competitors. So you have a nice hatch. It's a power liftgate, and of course it has a foot swipe here. There's a warning sign, flashing lights, and the hatch closes. So let's open it again. There you go. Let's try again. Okay, sometimes it takes a few tries. Never mind, let's just use the button. Okay, so the trunk space, the shelf moves with the hatch. So the rear section moves with the hatch. This little section stays fixed. Okay, again, this one is actually a 40-20-40 split. Okay, so it's much more practical than the regular 40-60. So there's a pass-through. You still have the middle armrest there. You have the very nice flat floor, and you have some storage space under the trunk floor. Here's a subwoofer for this car. Okay. All right, let's close it up and show you the interior space. So I'm gonna open up. Here's your charging port, by the way. We mentioned to you that the Ford was in the front driver's side. This is the rear passenger side, and here's your charge port. They both have covers, so your AC level 2 is right here. Okay, they both have covers, and here's your CCS. They both have nice covers. They chipped out on the light. There's only a tiny little white light here, which flashes green when you're charging. But all in all, it's a convenient position. You just have to remember that you have to, just like our i3, it's the same positioning of the charge port as our i3. And this would be the natural upgrade from the i3. A lot of owners will be upgraded to the i4. As you can see, the screen, this is the newest iDrive 8 version. The newest version of the BMW iDrive system with a very large center screen. It's actually two screens, similar to EV6 and Ioniq 5. And of course the iX, which we'll be reviewing soon. All of those we'll be reviewing soon. You have one big screen, which is actually divided into two sections here. So you have most of the functions are on the dashboard, and this is all adjustable, right? So when you turn the car on, here's your warning sound. So the display on this screen can be changed with this little button here, and you have different options. You have this is your navigation. Let's change it to again a map. So you have the map content, or you have your Android Auto content here as well, or entertainment, right? So you have different options. You can adjust it, or you have nothing, just a speedometer. If you want, this is the simplest display. So this is how you can adjust it. On the left side, you see the speedo. On the right hand side, you see the power band. It tells you what percentage of the power you're actually using. Here on this screen, we usually tend to keep it on this consumption screen, which tells you how many kilometers you've driven, the time, and the average consumption. Of course, we stopped using the climate, so it's going wild. It's gonna reach 99.9 very soon, which is where you usually start your consumption. Okay, so here's your home button. That's what it looks like. You have your Android Auto, your phone functions, personal assistant. We haven't even tried that yet. Here's your trip meter. Here is your BMW weather forecast, the route preview, traffic conditions, and they can add widgets to it. Okay, then your main menu is here. BMW ID, mobile devices, personal assistant, charging. When you select charging, it's charging mode immediately. That's your timer. Departure plan, again, is your timer. AC limit, you can limit the AC. You can also change the target. It's very simple, much simpler than in the Ford. You can change, right now you can see it's up to 90%, 95, 100. You can change it very easily, even down to 80 or less. Whatever you need, it's very easy. It's all right there. Unlock cable, fan loudness, automatic. So that's fine. So that's a main function there. Live vehicle. So that's what we've seen before. Let's just go back to the menu. System settings, exterior lighting. There's more. Is there more? I think that's about it. So these are vehicle apps. If you want all the apps, I think you just press this button. There you go. I think there's more. No? Anyways, if all apps, sorry. Then you have to press all the apps, and then you scroll up and down, and then if you only want the vehicle apps, you press this button. Okay, so all apps, you have way more than that, of course. You have mobile devices, charging, navigation, telephone, Spotify, weather, all the other apps are here, including the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So you just scroll up and down. In the upper versions of this BMW, you have the gesture control, like we've seen in Volkswagen ID. This is the base version, so it doesn't have that option. Similarly, this base version does not have adaptive cruise. Imagine that, this is a 55 base, and as is, it's over 70 grand and still doesn't have adaptive cruise. So this is a little bit disappointing. The cars in this price range should have adaptive cruise as a standard. Never mind the auto steer and everything else, but adaptive cruise would be nice to have as a standard option. And perhaps it will be. This is a brand new car that just entered the marketplace. We anticipate that this will become standard as the time goes by in future model years. Okay, so that's about it for the main screen menu. Here you have some controls, some physical buttons, rear defroster, front defroster, and scan back and forth. And here is your entertainment on, off, and your volume button is right here. So this is a nice cover for the storage compartment, and you have your wireless charging pad. You place your phone here and it will charge it nicely, and this is one of the very few cars that will charge my phone wirelessly even with the cover on. 2 cup holders here. There is a 12 volt outlet here and a USB port. A lot of buttons here, so your start stop button is here. ASC off, cameras, parking, automatic parking. You have your different modes here. Again, it all can be changed through this button, which is much more practical than the Ford, where you have to go through the screen menus, Sport, Comfort, and Eco Pro. This is auto hold. This is your handbrake. Your positioning of reverse, neutral, and drive, and B mode. As we told you, in order to change in D mode, you can have coasting, or you can have 3 levels of regeneration. If you want to have a true single pedal driving, you have to put it in B. Then it's truly in 1 pedal driving. Okay, and the shifter is more traditional style. We like that traditional style shifter. And to park, you just press it here, and we're back in park. So this here is the touchpad, which controls your screen. So as you're turning it, you can move it left and right, you can turn it. You can also use your finger control on it to draw on it. And then, of course, you have your main typical BMW setup, which is media, home, map, navigation, telephone, and then back and option. This is very, the normal BMW interface that you see in all the other BMWs. Then you have your nice storage compartment here with few more USB ports here as well. All right, so this is the front. This car comes with Harman Kardon stereo. It's very good quality stereo. All the normal buttons are here on the door. Good quality materials again. And the nice thing about this BMW is that LEDs are everywhere. This is a base car. It has beautiful LED ambience lighting all around the doors and the front of the dashboard, where in the Mustang, you only have the LEDs in the footwells and in the pockets. So the nice ambience pack again, in a car that's almost 90,000, you would expect that there will be more nice LED ambience lighting all around the car on the inside. So here is where you see the size difference with the Mustang Mach-E. This is very tight. So it's kind of similar to almost the Taycan. It's a smaller car than the Taycan on the inside. It's definitely very tight for me. For traveling longer distances, it would be very difficult, because otherwise I would have to push myself into an uncomfortable position up front in order to accommodate someone my height in the back seat. As you can see, it's a very tight space, both for my feet and also for my legs. Even if I unfold this, okay, it's not a very comfortable position for long driving. Also, the headroom is very little, because it's a coupe hatchback style, the 4 Series coupe, 4-door coupe with a hatch. So not much headroom here in the back. So for that reason, as much as I love this car, I would probably not select this car. I would probably go with an iX, which is the SUV. But the Ford Mach-E is a good compromise between these two sizes. This being kind of a Model 3, sporty four-door coupe hatch. And without having to go to a full-size SUV like the iX, you may opt for a mid-size crossover style Ford Mach-E. So what I will do, I will reattach this mic and I will pop the hood for you to show you that really there is not much to show in a BMW, right? You can still open it, and it's a double open, double pull to open it. It's actually same in the Mach-E. It's a double pull to open. It's open now. It's hydraulic. It's all covered up. Here's you have one hatch for the refrigerant, for the air conditioning system and the cooling system. You have another hatch here for some other fill-ups, which are really not to be done by the owner. So the only thing that you will need here is the filler for the washer liquid, which is right here. There's nothing else. There's no frunk in the BMW. The reason is that this is basically a flexible platform on which the car is built, both full gas, hybrid, and full electric. They're all built on the same platform, so it's a flexible platform, whereas the Ford Mach-E is on a dedicated platform. Okay, so there you go. This is the front, really not much to show. You have the beautiful LED headlights. The DRLs are here at the bottom, so these two light up. And you have the beaver teeth that are very controversial. Many people hate them. All the sensors and cameras are located here. And the cooling is down below. Okay, so before we jump in to give you our driving impressions, we wanted to also show you the front of the Ford Mach-E GT, like any other Mach-E. So the way you can tell it's a dedicated EV platform is because it does have a frunk, and it does have a substantial frunk. So let's pop the hood and show it to you. So again, it's a double pull to open the frunk. And so when you open it, again, it's a hydraulic opening. You have a substantially sized frunk where you can store your cables and maybe some other stuff. Here's your washer filler cap, and that's about it. That's all we can show you about the Ford Mach-E front. Okay, so let's jump in and drive. Let's turn on the car. You do it by putting your foot on the brake and pressing the start button. Here's your welcome screen with the pony in front. There was a little bit of a welcome sound there. So right now this is the black screen option. In order to get put the screen on, not sure what the 2% is. Oh, that's 2 degrees, sorry. Okay, so here we go. So this is the Android Auto. We turn off the sound. This is the Bang & Olufsen system again. Let's just exit. So we're in Android Auto mode. We can put it on the consumption mode. So the trips. Just a moment ago, we were driving along the Highway 12. We're in the area of Highway 12 and Highway 400 near Port Severn. And just moments ago, when we turned off the car, it was showing a 15-kilometer trip, which took about 15 minutes. And the consumption on the side road on Highway 12 using 90 kilometers per hour speed was about 25 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And the temperature right now is just barely over freezing, so it's just 2 degrees, as you can see. And we're using the steering heat, seat heat, and the climate at 18 degrees. Okay, so the reason why we're doing it differently today is we want to show you driving on the 400 in order to demonstrate the amazing Blue Cruise. It's one of the best, if not the best, driving assistance systems, and we consider it to be superior to Tesla's, and we'll tell you why in a moment. But before we do that, we wanted to tell you about a quirk that affects both the Ford and also the BMW, and this is something that can be easily fixed by software updates, and I'm hoping that it will be fixed soon for both of these cars. Okay, so the issue that we're having is that in order to find a fast charging station at your destination, It's very difficult. It should be much easier than that. So we can try and do it through the navigation screen here, or we can try and do it through talking to the car, and neither way is easy, and there's a very complicated and convoluted way to get the car to set the navigation for a fast charger at your destination. So if we press on the button here, again today we're driving in the Unbridled, which is the sport mode. We're using the one pedal driving. We can turn on the propulsion sound so you can hear it again. So first of all, let's try and now we're gonna make it easy, because finding fast charging in your area where you are is easy, but finding it in other destination, it's much more complicated. So where to? Let's see if it should have, you have home, work, explore, let's see, chargers. There you go. Okay, let's press on the chargers. And basically it gives you the nearest chargers, including fast chargers. However, when you're trying to do the same thing at your destination, it's much more difficult. So there's really no simple way to do that except by zooming and moving your map around to your destination and then zooming in to see it. So if we now we're like we said, we're in the area of Highway 400 and Highway 12. The nearest fast charger is in Port Severn, which is basically right there. So let's see, Jordan Bay Islands, Charge Point, Lone Pine Road. Yes, so this is the Charge Point fast charger, which is the 50 kilowatt machine. And then right next to it is an IV charger near the city of Port Severn. And that one I don't believe is actually showing. So Charge Point is 6.6 kilometer, Rowley Resorts Pine Marina. It doesn't tell you on this menu which one is a level 2, which one is a level 3. We just happen to know that the Charge Point at the Lone Pine Road, that it's they both have level 2s and level 3s. So as we click on them, there you go. Let's see, when you zoom in, 4 and 5. So I don't know if this could be 1 and 2 at Port Severn. Let's zoom in. It takes a while. So number 2, what is number 2? Let's click on number 2. No, nothing. There you go. So it's not very logical. Let's go back. So if you saw the charge point, let's say you want to select this one, we happen to know that it's a fast charger. Okay, this should be more clear. You should be filters. There is a way to filter it. Fast charge. Okay, now let's see. Flow in Aurelia, and again, so you can filter by fast charging. So right now it shows us Barry chargers 38 kilometers away in straight line, Ivy in Gravenhurst, Chevrolet in Aurelia, Flow in Aurelia, and there's your charge point in Port Severn. It doesn't have the IV that has been opened up quite a few months ago. So again, a lot of the chargers are missing from both Ford and BMW. So you please have to make it easier. And then local charging is great, but make it easier to search for chargers at your destination. Nobody's gonna stop the car and then search locally. You know, when you're starting your trip, you wanna set the navigation for the fast charger at your destination. So looking for that in both the Ford and BMW is complicated. You basically have to play around with zooming the map, and you have to know where they are to zoom into the point, click on it, and that's set your destination for the charger. It shouldn't be this difficult. Okay, so let's set it for charge point at Port Severn. There you go. There's your address. Ford network plug and charge, fast charge. There you go. It tells you what it is. Go.
Obey traffic laws. Be alert and use voice commands while driving.
Okay, so we might as well try and do this. And let's cancel this. Hey Ford. Hey Ford. Set navigation for the nearest fast charger.
Please choose.
Number 2.
Starting route to charge point, G&G's Travel Plaza.
Okay, so there you go. In terms of finding the chargers nearby and setting the navigation, you can do it through the map, through the options, or you can do it by verbal commands. But again, none of those ways work for setting destination or looking for fast chargers at your destination, which is an issue when you're traveling. Okay, so that's something that can be easily fixed on both cars via software updates. So a message here to both Ford Canada and BMW Canada. A suggestion to please make it easier to find fast chargers at your destination anywhere en route, and even travel planning. So it works very well in the Teslas, it works very well in our Audi. Both, you can plan the entire route, including fast charging. When we're driving Trans-Canada on the Audi, we just put our destination as Calgary. It would plan, just like Tesla, the Audi would plan your fast charging en route. So we doesn't seem to be the case here yet, for both Ford and for BMW. But again, very easily fixed through software updates. Okay, so let's hit the road. The navigation might be talking through our review, but let's turn it on. Let's hit the highway so we can demonstrate. We're going to use a little section of the Highway 400 to demonstrate the amazing Blue Cruise. So the Blue Cruise, as we're driving, we'll show you, it has 4 different stages. It has a regular cruise control, adaptive cruise control, has auto steer, and then it has a hands-free. It's a hands-free that differentiates this car, makes it superior to any other driving system that we have tested so far. Of course, the Chevy GM Super Cruise claims to be also very similar. So let's give you a demonstration. Okay, we're gonna put it in reverse. There's your nice 360 view and the rear camera with, of course, sensors all around. The car is equipped with automatic parking, both BMW and this car, but to be honest, we've had it on many of our previous cars. We have almost never used it, okay? We're just afraid of curb rash. Those systems are not perfect, so we even want to demonstrate it because we never use it. Honestly, if you're excited about that, if you have difficulty parking yourself, by all means, use it. Most of the modern cars are equipped with it. We will not bother because we never use that system. So the sound is on, as you can hear. Here is your pseudo V8 sound. Oh, we're at the red light. We didn't manage to turn. So you heard the V8 sound. We're gonna turn it off because it's kind of noisy. So the way you do it, again, press on the car, propulsion sound off. We'll show you how to set advanced green, how to turn on the Blue Cruise. So all the functions are located here on the left side of your wheel. You press the on button. Okay, first of all, Blue Cruise on, watch the road, be prepared to resume control. Automatically has the auto steer is on, as you can see by the indication. Click OK, and we're gonna turn left. So you have both your Blue Cruise settings and your navigation here on the main screen, which is kind of nice. We should be able to resume our cruise control. Ready? There we go. 104. Lane keeping system off. Lane keeping system on. Okay. Let's see. Are we on auto steer? I believe it's auto steering right now. Normally, when it wants you to keep the hands on the wheel, the Blue Cruise, there's gonna be a little indication here that shows you the steering wheel with the hands on. Right now we don't see it, so it's quite possible that the Blue Cruise is on and it is in hands-free mode. The only thing is, without navigation, it would tell you so on the screen right here. Because there's navigation, perhaps it doesn't tell us that. So the other thing is, which is nice about this, it doesn't nag you. Once you have the hands-free on, which seems to be the case right now, it doesn't nag you like all the other systems. They don't nag you to keep your hands on the wheel. It's a true hands-free system, okay, which is way better than any other system that we saw. It doesn't have the lane change system. There you go. We'll try and put an indicator on. You have to initiate the lane change. It doesn't have the auto lane change system at all. Okay, so we're gonna do that. When you finish your there we go. now we're back in auto steer and in hands-free. Okay, you can drive from here to Vancouver without touching your wheel. As long as the conditions are met, meaning decent weather, not in snowstorm or a rainstorm, there you go. It's handling it pretty well, turns and everything else. And as long as the lane markings are pretty clear. So we're just passing by the Petro-Canada Plaza with the 50 kilowatt units from ChargePoint. And the other charger should be just around the corner at the municipal office. Let's see if we can find them. There we go. Ivy is right next door. So right after the single ChargePoint Petro-Canada unit is the municipal office of the township of Georgian Bay, Muskoka. And here you have 2 units from Ivy. They are both 50 kilowatt units. So it's nice that you have 3 units very close by, okay? And we have used Ivy before. As you know, Ivy is the company that will be installing, that already is and has installed fast charging units at the on routes all over Ontario, which is great news. And the newest units are 150 kilowatts, where those 2 units are only 50, but it's still very helpful to have them here in this location along the Highway 400 on the way to Muskoka. You can charge up, so 2 units at 50 kilowatts here and another one ChargePoint just down the street at Petro-Canada. So all in all, we are very impressed with this car. This is the top of the line Ford Mach-E GT with 480 horsepower, long range battery. And again, from our experience, this car in the range in the winter now in close to 0 temperatures, the realistic range appears to be around 350 kilometers. I'm sure that in the summer conditions in Whisper or Eco mode, you can stretch it beyond the 400 kilometers. With this very powerful all-wheel drive system with 480 horsepower, the acceleration is a Tesla performance like 3.7 seconds. So it's very comparable to both Model 3 and Model Y performance versions. It will compete very nicely with those 2 cars. And there's many pros and cons. We prefer between the 2, honestly. We prefer this setup and this car. So in our view, this is a better car than the Model Y. When you don't consider the Tesla supercharging network, which everybody brings up, there's a supercharger network, which is amazing and it's great. Soon it's going to be opened up to other cars. So then all the other electric cars will be on level playing field with Tesla, both Model 3, Model Y, S and X, etc., etc. Okay, so amazing car. Again, starting at around 51,000 for wheel drive and short range battery, going to 90,000 for this top of the line car with the large battery. And for a $90,000 car, it would be nice if it had more of the ambience lighting on the LEDs here, perhaps in the interior. It would be nice if it had head-up display like the BMW has. This car does not have, head-up display, and for a car costing $90,000, you would expect that it should have a nice head-up display as well. But all in all, the Blue Cruise is a superior, system that allows you to a true hands-free driving on long distances, which will make your long distance trips very comfortable. Okay, so we highly recommend it. And now let's jump in the BMW i4 to compare with that one. We should be really comparing this more to the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus. As we mentioned before when we did the outside walk around, that this car is cheaper, it's faster, and it has very similar range. And even the charging speed on DC, which this car maxes out at 210, is not that far away from the Tesla Model 3, which tops out at 240. So a very comparable car. Tesla has something to worry about because the quality of this car is way above the Tesla quality, as you likely know. So the only Tesla advantage for now is its supercharging network. That argument will no longer exist very soon when they open up the supercharger network to other EVs. And trust me, they will. They need the income, so they will open it up. It will be more expensive for other EVs to charge, like it already is in Europe. in certain countries, but this will delete the argument of the supercharger network for Teslas. And then this becomes a very tough competitor for Tesla Model 3 standard range. So just to repeat, this car, the i4 40e drive, starts at 55, where the Tesla Model 3 SR Plus starts at 61 right now. Whereas the Ford Mach-E that we're comparing it with in this review starts at 51. So 51 for the Ford versus 55 for the BMW. However, if you consider that once you add the long-range battery to the Ford Mach-E, it's actually same, very similarly priced. So let's start driving, and we will begin this driving section with a complaint. On the negative side, something that should be fixed by BMW, please, is the fact or the way that you set the navigation for the fast chargers in order to preheat the battery, especially important in the winter. It should be much simpler to set the navigation, for a fast charger at the destination. Just like in the Ford, finding fast charging stations nearby is fairly straightforward. But finding it at the destination, we actually got a message on the BMW navigation that its function currently not available. So it may come with future updates. Same with the trip planner when you're planning a long distance trip from here to Vancouver or here to Calgary. The trip planner, including all the fast charging stops, this may come in future software updates. So again, please BMW, please update your software to allow for fast charging searches in navigation easier than it is right now. So as you can see, today we're driving in sport mode and the consumption is higher. We just drove both cars on the side road, Highway 12, using 90 kilometer per hour average speed, maximum speed. The Mach-E was at 28 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. The i4 is at 23. Obviously, it's a smaller, slightly lighter car, more aerodynamic, so the consumption will always be less on this car. But in our view, the consumption is very close to the Tesla Model 3. It's a very efficient car as well. It's a new arrival, so it's one of the newest EVs in the marketplace. So let's turn it on and let's try and set the navigation. Here's your welcome sound. Let's show you the main screen. Hey BMW. Hey Set navigation for the nearest fast charger.
Sure, I will look for destinations. I have found these 42 entries. Which one should I select?
Number 2.
I've selected Charge Point Lone Pine Road, Georgian Bay, Canada. Should I start the guidance?
Yes.
I've started guidance.
Okay, so we could have done the same by using the map. Now, that is available for nearby stations. And again, our issue with this is when we were in Toronto trying to set the navigation for the fast charger in Barrie, we could not do that because it was function unavailable or not available yet. We had to basically play around with zooming out the map, and finding manually the fast charger in Barrie. So it should be much simpler than that. So now we're gonna cancel the navigation. We will not be taking this car on Highway 400 because this car, as it is, does not come with auto steer, so there's really nothing to demonstrate. We're gonna take it briefly on Highway 12 to show you the various features, talk about performance and general impressions. Hey BMW.
I'm here.
Cancel navigation.
I've ended the guidance.
There you go. So basically, not only is the car listening, your phone is listening, etc., etc. So sometimes between the phone that listens and the Google Assistant and all the other car assistants, you may hear some confusions. Anyways, let's start. Let's hit the road. So basically, we're driving in sport mode today. Let's go back to main menu. Let's go back to the car consumption display, and let's put it in reverse. As you can see, now the other thing we wanted to show you, let's put it in park again. This display here, this little neat function here. Okay, let's go back to this car. This is a 3D image. So it shows you, actually my brake lights shouldn't be on. I'm in park, so anyways, it shows the brake lights. And it also shows, as you open the door, number one, it shows the lights when you're flashing them, there you go. And when you open the door, there you go, it shows the door. When you open the hatch, it shows the hatch. So it's kind of neat that you have this, right? It's like a little gimmick. All right, so let's go back to the screen. Of course, it's very easy to find your Android Auto is right here as well. And the nice thing about the Android Auto here is that it occupies the entire center screen. It also shows you the entertainment that you're using from your phone. So all your music streaming details show up here on the right hand side. And it takes up the full screen, your navigation. For example, this here is Waze. The other nice thing about it is that when you're navigating through your phone apps, such as Google Maps or Waze, it actually shows the arrows in the center screen here and even in your head-up display. So this car, even though it's a base car, it comes with a head-up display. Of course, it's one of the options. So this is the I think they call it the luxury package. So it's extra cost, but you do get the head-up display here, and you have the nice opening sunroof with the blind that closes. And it's not a manual blind; it's an electric blind. Okay, so there you go. Here's your blind, and the sunroof has a tilt option, and it opens up as well. There you go. So as you know, we're obsessed with opening sunroof. So one of the pluses for BMW versus the Ford and Tesla, it's an opening and tilting sunroof, which we like. So again, we showed you already that you can modify your center display, your main dashboard here. You select your options here. So basically you have just the speedo. You can have your current consumption and the power bar that shows you if you're recharging or what is your current consumption is. So we're stopped. You can tell that we're using 1.1 kilowatts for the climate system. All right, and then your trip meter and your average consumption is going to show up here. As soon as you stop the car, your average for the trip disappears. You have to go to this center screen to get your average consumption. So that's one of the options. Then you have your navigation screen and your compass. Then you have, again, the map. You can display the map here. You have the entertainment screen, and that's about it. Or you can just have your speedometer. So we're gonna keep it on the consumption screen so you can watch the instant consumption and average consumption, which both show up on this screen. Okay, so we'll go back to the driving statistics as well. And let's hit the road. So this is the base i4. You can hear the pedestrian warning sound, which is obviously louder when you're reversing. And it's not as loud when you're driving forward. The Ford Mach-E GT, we'll try and record those for you. The Ford Mach-E GT is actually beeping when you're reversing, so it's kind of funny. It's almost like a truck. There we go. We're in sport mode. So this is the base rear-wheel drive car, 335 horsepower, 5.7 seconds to 100. So it's quite a nice performance. Very competitive with the base Ford Mach-E and the base Tesla model Standard Range Plus. It's really fast enough. So now because we're in sport mode, we're gonna put it in B mode. So again, different driving modes, different levels of regeneration. First of all, when you're in drive, you can be coasting. By going through the menu options, you can select 3 different levels of regeneration. So this should again be a little bit easier. Like most other electric cars, you can adjust the various levels of regeneration with shift pedals. So maybe in the 50M version all-wheel drive, there might be shift pedals, we don't know yet. Right now in this particular base model, you can only adjust it through the screen. So right now, we're in B mode, okay? So when you're in drive, it will still regen, not as strong as in B mode, okay? So, and also even in max regen in D, the car will not stop fully. You have to press on the brake. Also, it will creep forward. So the only way to have the proper one pedal driving is by shifting this to the left. Now you're in B mode. Now we're in true one pedal driving mode. Okay, so again, you can hear the sound, and that sound can be turned off. Hey BMW, turn off the driving sounds.
All right.
I don't think she understood what I meant. Anyways, you can do it also by going through menus, but we're driving. We don't want to be distracting ourselves too much with going through the menus here. But it can be turned off in any mode. So you have the Eco, Pro, and it all can be adjusted through here. You have the Sport, Comfort, and Eco Pro. So today, again, we're driving the Sport mode. And let's keep the sound on anyways, but you can turn it off. So our general impression with this car is that it's a tough competition for both the Ford Mach-E and for Tesla model Standard Range Plus. Now, next up in a few weeks, we'll get a chance hopefully to drive the top of the line version. So we'll be driving the i4 50M all-wheel drive, which would have very competitive performance and power rating and range to both the Ford Mach-E GT and the Tesla Model 3 Performance. And this being a hatchback, it's a much more practical car than Tesla Model 3. So the only advantage that we see right now, of course, the supercharger network, but also the fact that the rear space, it's seems to be a little tighter than the Model 3. So the car seems to be a bit smaller than the Model 3 in terms of the rear space and head space in the back seat. But other than that, you know, an amazing car. So Tesla definitely has something to worry about. You know, the only question remains about the supply, you know, of this car. How many of these cars can they supply? Can the supply match the demand? So as you know, right now, between the war in Ukraine and the virus and shortages, the wait lists are very long for all electric cars. Okay, so in the BMW right now, you have the choice of either the 2 i4 models, or you can go, if you want something more spacious, you can go for the iX. And we just learned from the BMW Canada that the iX is going to come in 3 different versions. So you'll have the base rear-wheel drive 40. You'll have the iX 50M, which we'll be driving in the next few weeks. And then you will also have a top-of-the-line 60M, very fast, the top performer in the iX range. So all 3 will be available. Okay, so you have currently the choice. It's good that BMW introduced them at the same time. You can go for the regular 4-door sporty sedan hatchback car, or you can go for a full-size SUV. All right, so right now, let's concentrate on this, i4 versus the Mach-E. And I can tell you that, again, whether it's against the Tesla Model 3 or whether it's against the Ford Mach-E, this is a very competitive car. And a lot of people who will be cross-shopping those 3 will have a tough time, choosing between the 3. And I think it's going to depend on who's got the shortest wait list. Because of this is one of the criteria for people choosing a car, how quickly they can get it. If they have a choice of getting the car right away or in a few months versus waiting over a year, they may choose a particular car just because of it. Okay, but our general impression is that we love this car. Bravo BMW for coming out with a very competitive product, even up against Tesla, and of course Ford and others. So of course others will be cross-shopping it with the newest Kia and Hyundai, 800 volt cars that charge even faster. But this 210 charging speed is very competitive. Okay, so even compared with Kia and Hyundai and Genesis soon, we will hopefully get to drive the Genesis GV60, because this is more of a luxury brand where Kia and Hyundai really shouldn't be compared to BMW. But because of the price range, many will still compare it with those two and cross-shop with those two brands, even though they are not considered to be luxury brands. So that's about it. This is the conclusion of our driving section. The final version and summary will happen when we get the chance to run these cars down to a very low state of charge, and we'll plug them in back in Toronto at one of the fast charging and the ultra fast charging stations. Most likely we'll take them both to Milton, the Toronto outlets, and try and plug them in at the fast 350 unit at the low state of charge to let you know and report on how quickly they will charge in winter conditions, because by tomorrow it's supposed to be really cold. True winter conditions, we'll let you know and report back on what kind of maximum charging speeds we'll get on those two cars. Okay, welcome back to this final section of our review and comparison of the 2022 Ford Mach-E GT versus the BMW i4 40e rear-wheel drive. We're sitting at the machines here at Electrify Canada in Milton at the Toronto Premium Outlets. It's bloody cold today. It's like -8, and with the wind chill probably -15 with a strong northerly wind, so it's bloody cold. But it's perfect for a winter test on these two cars and comparison. We plugged them both in at Electrify Canada at around the same percentage of state of charge. They were both around 21% left on the battery. And let's show you the results of this charging. By the way, before we talk about charging, we'll tell you that on this trip here from Etobicoke to the chargers, which was about 40 kilometers, BMW used an average of just over 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. This monster here, the Ford, used 30 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Okay, let's get near the machines. The maximum the maximum rate of charge, fast charge on the BMW is 210 kilowatts. And we started, as I said, at 21%. We're not getting anywhere near that today on this machine, even though this is a 350 kilowatt machine. We're down to 76. We started at 30 kilowatts at 21%. It accelerated to about 99 kilowatts at around, what percentage are we at? We're at 21, sorry, what percentage? The target is, we're not, 52%. Okay, there we go. We're at 52%, but it slowed down to only about 76 kilowatts, even though a moment ago it was at 99 kilowatts. So it's the charging curve is nowhere near as good as on our Audi e-tron, but it's better, much better than the Ford Mach-E. Let's show you the Ford Mach-E right now. Let's go to that machine. And we're charging at, it's actually up to 90 kilowatts. So now it's charging faster than the BMW. The BMW maxed out at 99 kilowatts, but then it slowed down to 76, around 50%. Here we're at 39%, charging at 91 kilowatts. So they are both kind of similar in terms of the charging curve. Let's see how long the car will be able to keep up this speed. So inside the Audi e-tron, we can see the completion time, but we can also see the charge rate of kilowatts. Here, unfortunately, we don't see it. All you can see on the main screen is that maximum rate is 210 kilowatts. It should be showing you the current charging rate, which it is not. Okay, it just tells you that it'll be fully charged at 100% at 5:08 p.m. Okay, I wish that it would show the current charge rate, which, by the way, slowed down as we just mentioned on the machine. We started at 21% state of charge. The rate was about around 40 kilowatts. It sped up slowly to 99 kilowatts, but by the time it reached 50%, it slowed right back down to about 70 kilowatts or so. So we set a target for 100%. I'm not sure if we're gonna wait that long. So the only way to change or check the actual speed of charging is on the machine or on the Electrify Canada app. So we can do that right now. Here is the Electrify Canada app. So the car is showing 57. The app is showing 56%. It's showing that it's slowed down to 67 kilowatts. So it's going to be interesting to see. Both cars reached a similar rate of maximum rate of around 90 kilowatts. BMW went to 99. The Ford went to about 90 kilowatts. And then it slowed right down. Right now we're back down to about 65 kilowatts at 57%. The Mach-E now ramped up to the higher and faster rate of charge than the BMW. We're at 51% on the Mach-E, and the speed is about 112. So the machine, the actual unit shows 51%. The app didn't update yet. The update is showing actually 49% and 115 kilowatts. The BMW maxed out at 99 kilowatts below 50%, but then right after 50% it slowed down to about 60 kilowatts. So the original estimate was that the BMW was going to be ready sooner, but now the Ford Mach-E, the estimate is earlier. It's showing 80% at 4:25 p.m. We're gonna try and charge it up. I believe it's programmed for 90%, so it's gonna take a little longer. Both cars should be ready around. We're gonna end the session at around the same time, so probably it's now just after 4. Obviously, we're not gonna be sitting here for an hour. We'll probably end the sessions in the next half hour and see how far we've gotten on both cars. So, surprising result, even though on paper the BMW is supposed to be faster. The BMW is capable of up to 210 kilowatts, and the Ford Mach-E is capable of only, if you can say it only, but it's 150 kilowatts. So technically it should be slower, but under these conditions, and it's very cold weather, like you can see, it's -4, and with the wind chill, it's probably -15. It's a crazy wind and very cold wind. I could barely speak outside when recording in front of the car. But the big surprise here is that the Ford seems to be charging faster under these cold conditions. Right now it's slowing down. It went down from 115 to 105 at 54%. So the BMW is at 65% and it's charging only at 57 kilowatts, okay? So there you go. And again, we can repeat that from our experience on this test where we've driven to the lake house and back. The BMW, in terms of the consumption, it's much more economical. So right now, from Toronto to the Milton fast chargers and the premium outlets, the Ford used basically almost 30, just over 30 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. BMW used just over 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. On our test yesterday, going up to the lake house, it was warmer weather. It was +5. The Ford used 26 on the highway, 26 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and then on side roads, the consumption went down to about 24. BMW highway consumption was about 20.5, and then it went down to 19 on the side road. So quite a bit of a difference in consumption yesterday in the warmer weather, and this difference became even larger today in this super cold real winter weather. So even though it's March, what is it today, March 27th, so the cold weather seems to be affecting the consumption on the Ford more so than on the BMW. Okay, so bravo to BMW. It is a newer car. It just came out. We're one of the first people to be driving the i4 40 eDrive rear-wheel drive. And obviously the difference is that it's It's a rear-wheel drive car with 330 horsepower versus this one 480 horsepower all-wheel drive. The weight difference is not that much, but this is a bigger car. And so maybe it's the effect of aerodynamics, it could be the efficiency of the motors, it could be many things, or even software. So the bottom line is we loved both cars, and many of you will be cross-shopping those two, even though this would be probably more cross-shopped against the Model Y, and BMW should be cross-shopped against Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, because it's cheaper, faster, similar range, and definitely should be cross-shopped. Both of these cars should be cross-shopped with Tesla Model 3 and Model Y. Okay, and we loved our time with both of them. So again, thanks for watching our review. We have lots more electric cars reviews coming to our channel very soon. So please don't forget to click on that subscribe button at youtube.com/TEVA Association. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next review.